All right, this is it. I guess I am interviewing Isaiah. Is this Isaiah? Is this Parody Isaiah? I can't exactly tell. Who is this
Oh,
man that is he wearing a power glove or is that a trash bag? I can't exactly tell. Can you guys tell? I can't exactly tell. Who is this man? Who did I get? Who are you? Are you Parody
only a sucker
Isaiah?
does 95. Only a sucker does 95.
Only a sucker does 9 to 5, but then you done 9 to 5. I work 20 hours a day, man. That's pretty common. White people problems, you know what I mean? All right. We can stop the parody now. All right, Rudy. Okay, the joke's over. All right, so here's the deal. Um, Isaiah, we tried to ask him for the link to the Discord because, believe it or not, Rudy here, he's banned as an ex-member of Empire Arcadia. Well, I guess not really banned. It's more like he just walked away because whatever. And sometimes Isaiah gets a hold of him and contacts us and takes interest in whatever he and I would say, and that's fine. That was a joke, Isaiah. That was a joke. All right.
That was dumb.
I like having open parody shit. That was hilarious. Okay. You know what else is also hilarious? I also want to advertise. Not really advertise, but yeah, we'll go over it later. It'll be a prize. Don't worry about it. So anyway, let me just ask this question. Rudy, give me or parody Isaiah basically. Give me the what is your viewpoint on retrofitting and define retrofitting back in the early 2000s?
Well, I never actually heard the term retrofitting. So
It didn't really
if I was,
exist in 2000.
well, not in that term. I never heard of it. Just the change the equipment over to another equipment, like a controller or anything, because a controller is a controller. But you want me to go ahead and tell you what so far I know, like
Yeah,
the information I've
yeah.
gathered? Okay. If well, the retrofitting that I know of, I guess, means like you just use other old equipment from back then over to other equipment. So basically, you're just swapping over controllers or anything. It could be anything.
And it was very common back in the day, especially with arcade machines, because
Yeah,
the only way to repair them would be to send them out, and the
yeah,
shipping cost of shipping something that heavy, you'd be doing it by like a wooden crate. It's not something that FedEx would even come to go get because that's something that's pretty fucking heavy. Um, but
I'm gonna
continue.
tell you. Okay, yeah, because I can tell you this. Like example, I did that to my arcade. I had Street Fighter 2, the World Warrior, and you won't believe it what I used for that, because I want to use my other controllers. I mean, my other arcade controllers. So I had the LS30, which is the rotary controllers for like games like Akari Warriors, Guerrilla War, and all that. And I own the JAMA Guerrilla War, so I was able from vertical to horizontal, I customized my monitor for I could play either vertical games or horizontal games. So it had an LS30 rotary controller from SNK on a Street Fighter 2 Road Warrior, and it worked great. I mean, hold on a second. Hey babe, I'm in a live stream. They could hear you. No, I mean you could say what you want. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
I understand. You want me to
So
give
yeah,
my definition?
all right.
My definition is a little interesting. And I'm hoping that my headphones actually stay charged. Why are they not charging? Oh. That would make sense if they were plugged the fuck in, but whatever. Alright, so I have it written down. My defining viewpoint on retrofitting. Here's my counter argument to anyone that thinks that there is an issue with retrofitting when it comes to a scoreboard. If you roll back to like the early 2000s, like the time, and that's why I'm quoting this. believe it or not, there was one major console, one major one, and I'm pretty sure you can guess which one it is, Rudy, that had started to have mass hardware issues that was complained heavily all over the internet. I want
You mean?
you to figure out what the issue was and what console it was. I'm curious if you can know which one it was.
What year is this?
Well, it's 2023. What console do you think started to hit the shit in 2000?
Oh, really?
Between 2000 to 2010, there was one console that, believe it or not, was mass retrofitted. And not many people would even realize that it was retrofitted. And it's so obvious, too. You wouldn't think of it.
2000, right?
You want me to just tell you what it is? Because it would blow your brain up.
Hold on. Let me guess. This is in the year 2000? Like
2000 to 2010. 2010 is when these consoles started to dip and people started making third-party implications to actually make the software, the hardware work.
Okay, can I say... I'm going to say this because this is what I call the original Xbox.
No. So, here's the actual answer. The original NES top loader. Think about it. The 72-pin connector started faulting on all those hardware. All the hardware on all those consoles over the years. From early 2000 to 2010, there was a mass point where between those two time periods, the 72-pin connectors that are inside of the NES console itself would start to not work anymore. And it wouldn't matter how much you blew into the cartridge anymore, it just would stop working altogether. So the only solution was to replace these 72-pin connectors. And a lot of the consoles that you'll find used on eBay, all of them are replaced. Or you wouldn't know they're replaced because they're being sold used from another person that may have replaced them and didn't know they were replaced. And none of the 72-pin connectors have model numbers on them. So I asked this. And I posed this question. It's a very good, strong question. If you got a console off of eBay, it was a working NES, you're like, oh shit, I can't wait to do a record on it. Hold your britches, because that might be modified. Because it has a different 72-pin connector. It's not the original hardware from manufacture. This is the rule that the whole... the broker photo that Carl's relying on is trying to sit on. And it doesn't scream cheater to me at all, because it was a very common practice back in the day and early 2000s. Okay, I'm going to show this example. And I have these two consoles off to the side, and I want you to tell me which of these two are modified. Alright, here we go. You won't be able to see them on stream, Rudy, but... So, I got two NES top loaders right here. They both look the same. What do you think is wrong with them? I'll spin them around. Which one of these do you think is legit? It's a very good and honest question. Which of these two, and I will hold them up, the back of them too. Let's look at only the back of them. Okay? Now, which of these is a legit NES? It's a trick question. Neither one of these are legit. That is because both 72-pin connectors have been replaced. Neither one of them are a legitimate console. So when you actually sit down and look at it, even though that this has an AV mod, and because RF, for those that don't know what RF is, this little brown insert at the bottom right here, it's on both, but the RF on this one doesn't work, so we did an AV mod on this. RF works on here. I have two working NESs, but this one takes AV. So a lot of people don't know what a RF connection is, so that's not surprising. And there you are back in your hood. Sorry.
Well, it was like a timeout thing.
Well, anyway, the majority of these 72-pin connectors you'll find are consoles on eBay. They've been replaced, and you wouldn't even know it. And there's no way to indicate or tell other than opening up and looking if the board's been soldered professionally. And at that point, you're opening your hardware, avoiding the warranty. Which, is there really a warranty on an NES anymore? I don't think so. I'm gonna have to call my local Nintendo. But when Nintendo stopped making parts and they stopped supporting these older consoles, you look at people like Louis Rosman on YouTube that are these self-repair rights activists, which I respect Louis Rosman. I feel like he's doing the world a great favor by trying to repair hardware that isn't being supported. You know, the Apple Genius Bar, where they don't fucking they pretend that the thing is broken and then they make you go out and buy a new one when it's a simple fix, such as like just plugging in the battery or turning it on and off, and it's just monotonous. So when you see such examples like this, now, and I just had to ask this, does replacing your 72-pin connector or owning one that you don't know was replaced, because how could you tell otherwise, there's no model number, and what? Then you suddenly decide, all right, I'm going to go upload and run a score on Twin Galaxies on said NES console, you know, and just, that's been retrofitted with a new 72-pin connector that you don't know is replaced, and then upload a score. Suddenly that makes you a cheater. You know, it gives no hardware advantage over the original hardware because it's just a 72-pin connector replacement to be able to read the game. But suddenly, you know, it gives no hardware advantage. So there's no benefit. And yet it's not the original hardware. And because it's not original, it isn't supported anymore. What will that lead to? No one being able to compete with a score on Twin Galaxies because there's no more original hardware. And because there's no more original hardware, there's no more competing. And then you basically have these permanently grandfathered in records. And you could sit there and say, well, go out and buy a brand new NES unopened out of the box. Rudy, how much money would a brand new Nintendo box sealed cost?
A lot. A lot.
Yeah, and then a controller unopened too. That's a lot. I showed you N64 controllers. That's another one I'll get into in about a minute. N64 controllers, believe it or not. A new one out of the box goes for like $300. Anywhere from $280 to $500, depending on the coloration and if it's a Fantastic series. But again, no one will be able to compete with a score on Twin Galaxies because there will be, you know, thank you for tuning in, White Spy. There'll be this this zone that we're going to be in eventually in the future where we're going to run out of playable consoles to be able to do anything. And there's going to be people that are throwing around this, oh, it's not on original hardware, it's not on original hardware. You know, it'll only exist in the hands of the rich with unopened boxes of stuff, and they won't open them because it'll devalue them, obviously. And I would commonly blame Wata Games, mostly them, for just price hopping and devaluing the shit in the first place. I mean, realistically, the only value to an unopened game is the fact that it is unopened. And that the original manufacturers aren't producing them anymore, which it's their right to not make them anymore, but what happens to the video game scene when we can't get these consoles to be able to play the games on original hardware? Now, another thing I wanted to pull up was my N64 controller. I have a modified N64 controller here. I want you to tell me two things that are wrong with this controller. Just visually. Now here's the two things that are wrong with it. Obviously I have Mayflash adapter on here, so technically the Twin Galaxies and Mayflash adapter using any kind of adapter connected to a controller would be viewed as cheating because this could modify my control inputs in any manner. So to Twin Galaxies, this is a cheating device. This would technically be considered in class as a cheating device, even though its main purpose is to connect my controller to my computer. So I wouldn't be able to use this. Now, the second thing that was wrong with this controller, the stick is modified. That stick is actually shorter. If you can't tell which stick this is, let me move this out of the way. This, okay, that is a GameCube stick. You can tell. It's really short, it's not elongated, but it works a lot more better. Here's the problem. The original N64 control sticks, the base at the bottom, inside this little box, it's down here, there's a little piece of rubber. I'm sorry, you can't see it too well, but in this box, there's a little, it's basically a little hub for the actual control stick. Inside that, inside that box is a tiny piece of rubber in the original ones, a little rubber spear that sits on the axis, and it burns out after a while. And once it burns out, the stick just flops around freely. It has no more control movement. You might as well just not even play with it. Some of them are just completely unplayable. Now, the NES sticks, or I'm sorry, this is a GameCube replacement stick, like I said. Look how clean this is. Ready? I'm going to let go of it. It's clean. So, is something like that cheated hardware? The Twin Galaxies, yeah. Not actually. Do you remember Roy Schultz? We've talked about him before, Rudy.
It's only walking around. It's only walking around. Yeah.
Do you know, you remember Roy Schultz, right? Rudy?
Yes, I definitely know him. I know him in person.
Now, the argument that you'll hear and the common thing you'll hear within Twin Galaxies is Roy was right. This is in regards to his Missile Command trackball. Now, another individual, I can't remember, who was the person? Some guy named Rivers or something? Who was it that beat his score that had a different trackball setting?
I think that's some guy, I don't know, I think he's from, it's from another country. I forgot his name, but he's from another country.
I can't recall his name off the top of my head, but there's a video of Roy Schultz, Mr. Awesome, that you'll find online where he avidly talks about his Missile Command score, where the person who beat him ran on a different trackball size. And it was registered with Twin Galaxies, and Roy Schultz had brought this to attention and said, hey, look, I don't care that the guy used a different trackball size, but you guys still put it into your database, and it's there with my trackball, which is a different size altogether, and it's an accepted score. So now there is a retrofitted score on Twin Galaxies right now, still there to this day, that Roy Schultz brought up years ago and has been talking about it for years, with a retrofitted ball that may or may not have given the benefit to the other player, allowing him to beat Roy. But realistically, would it be any different to this? I don't think it would be any different to this. So long as the thing works, I would like to think that so long as there is a way to still compete on the older hardware, I feel like that is a viable solution. Tony Temple, that's who it was. Thank you, White Spy. I couldn't remember his name. Tony Temple had beaten him with the different trackball setting. Now, even all these years later, I will still quote Roy Schultz because of the fact that he was correct. He was correct about the trackball setting. He was correct about the fact that Tony Temple had used a different setting, and I think his ball was larger or something like that, right? And he ended up beating his score without much of a focus. And for years, Roy had approached Walter constantly saying, hey, look, why is he not on a different track set? He beat my score, but it's on a different ball setting. Technically, he didn't care that the score was taken from him, but truth be told, Roy did care. He was really upset when that score got taken from him because the guy was using a different setting. Now, if I could understand if I did a speed run with an N64 controller like this on speedrun.com and there was a turbo button on my controller somewhere, then I could understand and if I was the one using the turbo controller or somebody was using one, I would call that person out if they beat my score. Because that would be flat out fucking cheating. Or if they had a way that they can move faster in the game by holding a certain button combo like L and forward, or they can levitate by holding L, or, moon jump essentially, do things that you wouldn't be able to normally do in gameplay with a modified controller and a modified game. That sort of thing wouldn't be acceptable to me. But restoring old hardware to make it usable so there's a way to compete is another thing. I have one more viewpoint. What are you laughing about?
No, the thumbnail that you did.
Oh, okay. Well, let me go over one more viewpoint, okay? In regards to the same question and defining moment. Do you recall Parody Isaiah? Do you recall your Tetris Party WiiWare score, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember? Okay, look. So Nintendo Party, WiiWare, any game that is on WiiWare, you cannot buy a WiiWare game anymore because the Nintendo store is gone. You cannot pull out an original Wii, go on the Nintendo store and buy Tetris Party and be able to do a score on it on Twin Galaxies. Here's the reason why. The store is closed and there's no way to actually do a score anymore. So all those records on Twin Galaxies right now that have WiiWare scores, they are grandfathered in, and here's why. The only other way to play that game is to find a console that had bought the game and is listed on eBay, or homebrew. That is the only other way. And homebrew, can't do it. Homebrew is technically against the rules. It's using a modified program, using a ROM. It's not the original hardware. You might be playing it on the original hardware, but you're using a loader to play it. If Twin Galaxies ever accepted a WiiWare score using homebrew, it would be admitting to using third-party tools, or a Game Shark, essentially, the equivalency, or allowing Project 64 runs, emulator runs, MAME runs. Now, an emulator on a PC is one thing. There are MAME runs, and they do exist. But what about an emulator within a console? And mind you, the ROM could be manipulated or edited in any kind of manner, and there's no way to actually read the ROM. Because, again, supplying ROMs is against the law because it's supplying the game for free. Now, when it comes to these MAME tracks that are on Twin Galaxies, it's my firm belief that we should not allow just anything to go up. I feel like we should be doing like a ROM check of the actual ROM too that the person plays on. Like, they should have to go through some kind of verified check to see if it's the same ROM or modified or in some way before the scores even allowed it to be run through a homebrew channel on Wii, which, again, so, there has probably been times where I've actually wanted to try Tetris Party on WiiWare and beat Isaiah's endless score, and I easily could. It'd be a joke. But it's like, you can't play it anymore under the original settings. There's no settings to play it. There's no competition. So what do you do at that point? You can't really retrofit your way through that one. You can't modify your way through it either, because technically you'd be using homebrew. Technically you're breaking the law by getting ROMs. I mean, are you breaking the law by downloading a MAME ROM? You think that'd be against the law, considering how old MAME games are? They're pretty much free all over Flash games. I mean, it's give or take at this point with the licensing, but how about this point? Let me ask you this. This is the only other question I had here, because I was going to have Isaiah ask me a bunch, but what is your viewpoint on games that can no longer be played that have scores? Let me hear that one. You got one for me, Rudy?
Oh, we're talking. I thought you were talking to people in general.
No, I'm asking you.
Okay, you're saying that.
What is your viewpoint on games that can no longer be played that have scores on Twin Galaxies?
The games you can't play them no more.
You can't compete on them anymore because they're not available. They're grandfathered in. There's no way to compete on them.
Okay, let's just say like that. Well,
what would you say to somebody that wants to compete on them but can't? Tough shit.
Well, if you want my opinion on that, basically.
Yeah. If you had to retrofit or allow retrofitting to be able to have those people go back and play, would you allow that if you were Jace Hall? Think about that one really hard. Think about that one really hard.
If I was Jace Hall, I don't want. If I say this is the way it goes, this is the way it goes. So I guess because that's his scoreboard now, so he's gonna do it the way he wants to do it. So I think that's a sticky thing to say, because it could be grandfathered because it could be of any factor, either leaking situation or something. But then you could open up another bracket.
Is this the part where I talk about Isaiah's Contra 3 score? The parody Isaiah here? Do I talk about your Contra 3 score?
Don't be talking about my Contra 3 score, motherfucker. Well, all in serious is if they did it that way, all it says, if they did it that way, then they verified it real thoroughly and carefully, so it's officially verified. So it's like that'll be on them now, not it won't be on Triforce because he did the score and run. You know what I mean? He did that. So if they say it's okay, then it's okay. You know what I mean? That means that
even if it was a different ownership and different time, it's not the same with Jace. Even though, you see, when we sat down and years ago analyzed that game, and I did so very avidly, I sat down, I looked at the hexadecimal values, I played around with the game's files, I modified values, I tried, and I sat down and I calculated the max possible score on every single level in Contra 3, especially when you're running from normal into hard mode. And we had the Drifter, who went to Games Done Quick for the game itself, and even he verified exactly what my calculations were, which I wrote down on a notepad the max possible score for every individual level and then added it up, and then we did an exact calculation of how long he would leech on the final boss. Now, you would leech a little bit on the normal, but on the hard mode final boss, you would sit there for 30, I think it was 36, 37 minutes or something. And ultimately, your gameplay was like 7 hours. So, I mean, that's what Frico said was 7 hours. I don't think it was 7 hours, but it might have been a little bit less than that. But from my memory, I'm just going on memory here because it's been about 3-4 years now. The Contra 3 score that Isaiah did, it was like 36 minutes of leeching on the final boss. And the track set rule is made up by the ref. And the person that was the ref for that, I believe, was Lance, his live-in referee. Because at the time, when that score was done, in 2011, Isaiah will never admit to this, and this is probably why he didn't want to show up on this podcast, or on the stream. In 2011, he sat down with Frico, and I'm not really. It wouldn't even matter if I told this story or not because it's just a story, but I firmly believe it. In 2011, on New Year's Day, Isaiah, and you remember this, I know you do. You sat down with Frico and Lance at some place to eat, and you talked about your Contra 3 score, avidly up and down, and you said that you want to get it grandfathered in before you revealed how you managed to get it. And at the time, Lance was a referee. So, it's only to my firm belief that the two of them went to Walter, asked for a track set, got his record grandfathered in, and changed the rules to excessive leeching is not allowed it. But regular leeching is allowed it, which is weird because if you look up Twin Galaxy's global rule set, no form of leeching is allowed it. Go look up the global rule set when you go to upload, which is across every game. There's no such thing as any small amount of leeching allowed in that community. Leeching would mean no forward progression for those that don't know. So if you are on the final boss but not actually killing it and you're hitting all these additional ads it spawns in for more points and you're sitting there grinding it out for an extra half an hour, that's leeching. To an excessive point. I mean, it's half an hour. If you're not progressing through the final boss of a fight for half an hour, that's to me excessive. But to Jace Hall, this excessive threw everything out the window, and because Isaiah was going behind head custodians at the time of the dispute was compromised, so he just said, fuck it, reject it, we're done. And that's why the Contra 3 score is still standing right now. Opposed to what I've heard back then, and I just didn't care. I pretty much just said, alright, Jace, whatever. Your choice. Bad choice, though. What were you going to say, Rudy?
Oh, I was going to... Well, see, I'm if I can admit this, I'm sort of guilty on that as well.
Well, go ahead.
Okay. Well, let me explain what I mean by that. When I was doing the Contra for the arcade, I will beat that game deathless, and I did it at the fastest time and everything, but they didn't accept it into the Twin Galaxies database. and I even asked one of the chief reps to do it, and they didn't do it. Over at Fun Spot, and so I'll go, okay, then I'll just do it the way they like to do it, with score based, because I like to beat my games without my games. The way I beat the games, it's not about score, but about
No, I
beating
understand.
death.
You like to
and
do
artists.
no-hit challenges. There's
Yeah.
certain people on the internet that like doing that. I like doing it. There's a guy named Shay who does Undertale no-hit. It's a very commonly done thing.
Yeah. So what happened was my first place Contra was going into like second or third, and it was all based on leeching, like deaths and all that. Go, all right, then they want to do it that way. They want to go ahead and do it that way. I'm going to do it that way. So I found a sweet spot, and I just kept grabbing up score. I could have went forever. Like I could have went forever, and I went to about, I think it's 3,033 something, and they got grandfathered. It got grandfathered, and then for some apparent reason, I think it got reopened. I don't remember if it got reopened. I think it got reopened, but it was grandfathered, and they were just going to open up another bracket. So the only reason I did that is because every time, it's always that score gets leached up all the time on Contra. It doesn't make a. It's like now it's nothing. It's like they're not going to give recognition for that. So that's why I'm saying that I'm guilty over that. I'm not saying now that Isaiah.
You did it pretty much out of spite that the head refs were being dicks, and they didn't want to write a specific bracket for that.
Yeah, but see, that's what I'm trying to tell you. The contra thing is just not. Is sort of like, that's a difficult thing, because if you want to beat it by score, you're gonna do whatever you can by score wise. You know what I mean? If you're gonna do it by no death, then you're gonna do it by no death. And
do you recall what the track set rule was back then?
No, I didn't. I was gonna try it. I think I was gonna try it myself, but I never got around to it for Contra 3. And
you're only talking about Contra 1.
Contra 1. Well, no, they did some changes, but I think my grandfather Contra, I think it got reopened again, based on either some other ref did it or something. I think it got ungrandfathered, but it was grandfathered. I felt kind of like that. It was really strange over that, because I've never even heard the term grandfather. It just said grandfather, so that means that I burned the bridge, that anyone making any score outs on it. But if I remember, they made another bracket, and it got reopened, and there it is. So but I'm saying in Isaiah's case, is just because a lot of people like to make the score maximum as possible. I mean, when I went to Fun Spot with Isaiah, I met him in Isaiah. Met Isaiah at a Fun Spot. We beat him Mercs max, and we didn't die, but we maxed it. We maxed the score, all the way, and it was deathless. But we had to do like a little bit of leeching, like if you want to call it that way. It wasn't really leeching, because there's a timer. There's a timer on the game.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So so there's no way you could actually leech, because you're gonna run out of time, and you're gonna die. So we did a little bit of scoring, and then we got a 3-player score, and I showed him how to do the max. So he did the max on the Merc. So you see this. It just depends on what you mean by leech. But in this case, Contra is just notorious for that, for score base. So I would say it's not. I would say it
was as common as retrofitting. Just about.
Well, I just say it needs to be. I just think it's just best to I don't know. I can't say it because I'm not a ref. I'm not qualified that. I do know Contra games. I beat it. So make my wife and me. We did okay, but it's not about me. Her. But this is what I think happened with Isaiah. He doesn't want to reveal it, because if he reveals the secret, then everyone's going to know how to do it, and everyone's going to get that max score. So I believe that is the case, that he doesn't want to show it. Does that sound right?
I mean, honestly, I feel like we already figured out what the secret was. It was the iBoss. And it's not like it was a hidden thing either, because there's only so many boards that you could actually look at, and so many spots that you can only leech. There's only 2 spots in the entire game that you could leech, and the one boss prior doesn't give enough points. You'd be sitting there for hours on end, and it's more difficult to reach that than the final boss. So that this could be an entire hour-long conversation about that score. So let me get back to this topic at hand. Let me talk about the stick. All right, the stick that no one's been able to supply me a model number for, and what my current response to this is, and the Carl fanboys. All right, I do not give a flying shit about Billy or Carl. I do not. I'm gonna say it again. I don't give a flying shit for either one of them, and I don't give a flying shit for my dislike count, or my like count, or my comment section. The only thing I care about is somebody with a pair of brain cells, more than 2, coming to me with a model number, saying, I think it's this one, that isn't coming to me with a bias, that is coming to me straight up, just like I am, man to man, not small dick with fucking, what is it? Dislike extension shower restorer on YouTube, and talking about my like and dislike ratio with a tiny fucking wiener that they have, where they can't approach me like a man and answer a basic question such as like, oh, just tell me what this is. If you know what it is, and if you're so good at it, tell me what it is. If you can find what I couldn't find for an entire week, come to me with it, show me the model number and part, and be able to 100% identify factually that it is the same stick in the broker photo. And yet, somehow, for over a week, a bunch of brain-dead morons could not approach me via email, Discord, whatever. And I had dozens of people do it. No one could come up with it. And all I got was, in response, like an hour, what? A week's worth? No, not even that. An hour worth of my time wasted reading through comment sections of people that are just assuming it's this stick, it's that stick, it's this stick. Come up with, an actual thing. Come up with one agreed upon thing that I can look at, that I can sit here and identify. Hats off to you. Congratulations. You just solved the broker photo situation. But, as far as it stands, Carl Jobs is wrong. And I stand behind those words, full on. Because he didn't know the fact that stick could be also red. It wasn't originally just black. Radar scope cabinets were red.
I want to say something about that.
Because they were retrofitted.
I found some information about that.
Go ahead, tell me.
Yeah, Isaiah told me that what do you call it? That there's been ones like that and other ones like I'm trying to remember what he said. I think he said, what is it? There was other arcade games. I think it was Ghouls and Goals or something like that. Other arcade games had that too. I just can't remember exactly which ones he said, but he said that other arcade games do have that. So just to clarify it. So yeah, it's been swapped over.
So it had hapsticks. Or,
as far as I know.
Yeah, it's a mix of possible hap, but every other person that I've gone to asking or showing me a photo of a hapstick, I said, is there a model number on it? I had one guy approach me with a hapstick that had patent pending. I'm like, fuck, I almost had a model number, man. The back of it was all burnt out. I'm like, that was so close. This guy, hats off to him for trying. He actually tried. It just didn't have the one necessary last ingredient that I could go look up and contact Hap and be like, yo, look, when were these distributed and how was anything done with these? And so long as it has a patent pending number, they could just claim they never fucking made it. For the sake of legal repercussions, they could just claim anything. But with a model number, I have something to factually go to them with and say, hey, look, this is the model number of something you made. It was patent pending back in the day. Here's the number. What can you tell me about this? You sold it. I want to know everything about it. And they're obligated to not tell me. They don't have to tell anybody. It could be completely NDA. It could be non-disclosure. They don't have to say shit to me. And it's kind of surprising that, again, a whole week of time and these NCI sheeple brains, I guess you want to call them, from Carl's fan base, again, just didn't come with more than 2 brain cells. And I don't know why. And it's not that I'm insulting the average IQ of a person here. It's just that I'm expecting better from worse. And, you know, I'm going to drop and lower my expectation in people. I really do. I always like to assume that the human race as a whole can, you know, in one form or another, be capable of fucking critical thinking and can put two together and not just going to be half-ass response. Oh, don't you know that? Don't you know that is a Sanwa? It's a 35 millimeter. You know, it's an 8-way just by looking at how tall it is, and you know everything. And oh, I'm a Carl fan. I know everything, guys. And it's just like, shut up, go away, please. Just my brain cells. I like to keep them. I don't want to lose them. You know, I can't be any more kind than that. And it's my subscribers anyway. Majority, if not all of them, are able to have critical thinking. The people that come to my channel and mass dislike, they're not capable of critical thinking. And it's sad. I'm not asking for much. You know, it's more of a common, do you understand what I'm asking you? I don't care that you're upset that I insulted your hero, or you're the biggest fan and you want to take the equivalent of Justin Bieber on YouTube out for a date. No, what I want is a simple answer to a simple question, and I could not get that. So, that person's wrong. Pretty easy assumption, and pretty easy. It's like a math equation, and it's sad. What is your thoughts on that, Rudy? The brain cell of the majority of people on fucking YouTube have zero brains.
To be honest with you, I don't even know what that is either. All I just want to do is play video games. That's all.
I mean, I do too. I mean, that's what the majority of these retro people were wanting to do. They just wanted to sit down and be able to play a fucking video game and not worry about, oh, is this the exact manufacturer stick? Like, what if I had done a fucking speed run with this and I put it on, you know, Twin Galaxies and I showed my controller? Uh-oh, it's modified. Ban Maris. He's cheating. It's a cheating device. Look out. It's just like, are you fucking for real? The stick on this originally was worn out. I had no choice but to replace it.
Yeah, but see, that's the problem. They want to make it difficult for everything. It's like they're trying to put politics. They're trying to put politics in gaming. It's ridiculous. I mean, goddamn. I mean, we just want to play the games, make the scores, have fun, and some shit happens. I mean, to a degree, you can't. You know, there's cheating could happen, but they're just over making it. It's causing stress and chaos and like, oh well, you know nothing about arcade gaming or you don't know nothing about consoles. You don't know nothing about retro and all that. You know, it's out of control.
I was going to say one thing. You remember you made a custom Splatterhouse for Eddie.
Yes.
Yeah, you did, and it was the stick was a custom one too.
Yes, it was a very specialized one for him.
And it's technically not the original either, and that would technically be retrofitted. And did he play that? Did he score with that at all?
He did. He made it.
He made scores with that.
Yeah, we have my wife did a no different on a Splatterhouse with one exactly like that controller, and it has very high. It's a kind. It won't like jog around like it'll stay always on neutral. It'll go click.
It'll click back
like this, like half. When you let go, it does this because of spring action. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's a big difference. But just because it does that doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna beat the game deathless. It just means that you have better control. You know what I mean, of your character. That's really what it is. I mean, it's like you got a damn car. You got a car that has good traction versus a car that doesn't. You know what I mean? In every.
Oh, my tires are dry rotted out. I can't compete with a person that has non-dry rotted tires.
I mean, it is a science over it, though. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Of course, it's a science over it, and then so you can't compare one thing to another, but it depends on the driver. Now, let's say you somehow your let's say you got a race car and a regular car, right?
Yeah.
And you happen to be a professional driver, and and there's a rookie driver on a professional car, right? A race car.
Yeah.
You might actually beat him just because he's so fast. He might swivel and hurt and make wide turns, and you might make some clean turns. You see what I'm getting at, right?
Yeah.
It's really behind the person that knows how to use it. It's not really much of the controller. It's the person knows how to use it.
It's surprising that, all these people. Rudy, Freddy had a shit ton of NES scores before he, whatever happened to him. It's just surprising that a score that he had done passed on Twin Galaxies, and he was able to upload it. You know what I mean? Like, even though it was retrofitted, there's a degree of acceptability. Like you said, there's a degree of acceptability among the community on what is allowed it for that one particular thing. And believe it or not, I'm all for retrofitting because it allows for continued competitiveness. Like, one day, we're not going to have working Nintendos anymore. I'm not going to be able to run a fucking score on this and beat Rudy Ferretti's scores. I'm not going to be able to beat his NES Home Alone anymore. Because I won't be able to play it on original fucking hardware because all the 72-pin connectors will be replaced. Or hell, the whole fucking board will be replaced by then. Oh, well, there'll be HDMI modded ones. And believe it or not, there is HDMI modded NES's top loaders that do exist. And technically, they're against the rules to play with Twin Galaxies. Even though that most modern TVs only use HDMI anymore.
See that? I've seen that. There's an argument over that too, by the way, because I'm a purist and I don't like things for say modified in a way. I mean, as in like if I want my Nintendo.
There's also things with like CRTs too, where they have no input delay. You know what I'm talking about? Is CRT? Yeah, the CRT specialists talk about, up and down about how CRT is always superior to every other format because input delay on your device is minimum. It is like almost fucking instant. So let's say, for example, this had an HDMI mod, but here's the deal, right? This has only RF, so this would work with a CRT, and there'd be no input delay if I use this. And my camera is sitting on top of a Dynex TV that takes RF, so I can play with zero input any NES game if I want it. But again, this is not original hardware. The reason for it is because the 72-pin connector in this machine is modified. It's not the original 72-pin connector. So every machine, every Nintendo out there, and it's not just Nintendo that's being replaced either. It's Super Nintendo, it's fucking N64, it's your GameCube. Fucking, do you know that there are replacement CD drives for the GameCube that you could replace a whole GameCube with? My CD drive for my GameCube stopped working. You know what I did? I went out and I managed to find a third-party one. It connects to the GameCube, it works, but it doesn't fit in the actual console. It's too big. So it's kind of just like this half unit that's jutted out the bottom, and it's too tall, but it still plays the fucking thing and works. And it's funny.
But can I ask you this? What makes a difference between the pin? Because the pin is not one of the connectors. There's not really no difference to that.
No, there's no like you just said. There is no mechanical difference whatsoever. If I were to put a game in there on either one of them, there is no benefit to replacing the 72-pin connector other than the fact that the game will work.
The reason I'm telling you is because there's like example Neo Geo. There's the arcade, which has more pins, and then there's the AES, which is the home version of the Neo Geo, and it has a shorter pins. But they're actually the same game. It doesn't make a difference. It's the same game, but in a smaller, I guess, inputting format.
That's like, and this is another thing. On Twin Galaxies, there is, and it makes sense once you realize a few things. If you look at Twin Galaxies Fallout 3, there are scores for the PlayStation version, the PC version, and the Xbox 360 version. All of them have different bugs, crashes, and exploits. Not all the exploits are the same. Some things are pre-patched and different. Now, I'm pretty sure for that game in particular, all those records you have to play on the non-patched version of the game, which means you don't go online, you just play it right off the disc as is. And that's not too bad. But all these different games, when they hop platform, will have different bugs, regardless. And I believe one of them in that the run that I had to do for my Xbox run, the patch with Silver, there is a speech check issue in the PlayStation version where Silver could crash the game by talking to her. And it's very rare that it happens or something like that. I can't recall exactly how it works, but it's dependent on the way you enter an encounter. And it could just hard crash the game, and there you go, boom, you gotta reset. But that bug doesn't exist in the Xbox 360 version. Then you have bugs in the PC where you could quick save, quick reload. There's advantages to that stuff. And that's not allowed in Twin Galaxies. You're not allowed to you're not allowed to save or load a new guy. You have to keep going on the original one. Even though in the Fallout rules, the first one I uploaded, I didn't know the global rule set. The rules itself said nothing about quick save, quick reload. So I just assumed that it was an acceptable thing. All I did at the start of my game, all I did at the start of my game was activate Speed Cripple, which you just load a file and then you play the actual game. Literally it. What, is that weird that there's a glitch called Speed Cripple?
Yeah.
I could show you. It's dumb. You basically set up a landmine to blow yourself up and have a save that instantly kills you and blows off your legs, and then upon loading into that, you quick load into a file that doesn't have your legs blown off. And what happens is, instead of getting crippled, which you get a reduced speed, when you reload your file, the file doesn't correct the crippling, and you get added speed as a result. And you move with the cripple animation faster. And it's so fucking stupid, but it's an exploit that you can do. And it's not just limited to PC, but it's easier to do on PC. In real time, you don't even need to make a file on the PC. You could just quickly do it in an instant, but it's easier on console to have a save ready. And the way I set up my run, I set up Speed Cripple literally in my room at the start of the game. So that way, I don't get hit the entire run, and I just do the run. And it works. I'm able to beat the game in less than an hour. On the hardest setting, with a shit ton of glitches, I could do it in 45 minutes flat. But that's not allowed so what do I know? You're not allowed to glitch too hard in a Bethesda game, you know? I can only imagine what runs of Skyrim look like on Twin Galaxies. Like, doing a no-glitch run of Skyrim as fast as possible on Legendary, I would fucking shit bricks. That would be a nightmare to deal with. You know, I want to do that next. As soon as I'm done fucking New Vegas, that's the next thing I do, man. Fuck killing the toaster in Jace Hall. You know, New Vegas, I'll be done with that shit soon. I'm getting done with that game. I've halfway 100% at the game already. And, yeah, it's... retrofitting, like I said, is one of those things that I fully support. That I don't think Billy Mitchell is a cheater simply for a fucking photo that he took in front of a cabinet that had a stick that may or may not have even been the original fucking stick. But the hardware, the cabinet itself, is unaltered entirely. As far as I'm aware.
But that's ridiculous, Maris. I mean, the guy has did it on before.
He did it live on fucking Twitch.
Yeah. So it's like it doesn't matter of the stick he uses or anything. I mean, on goodness sake, I've been in a Metal Slug on the hardest settings I think it was on the hardest settings in a laundromat with a half controller that was damaged. It was like not working. I beat it like that. My wife seen it. So it's like it doesn't really make a difference with the controller.
Here's what I want to say. If Twin Galaxies decides on that photo alone, which would be dumb, which I think, this is my opinion, they, instead of just banning Billy and calling him a cheater and whatever, give him his record back, but move it to MAME and just cease this shit. Throw it under the rug, reinstate his record, but on MAME only. He has never done it on original cabinet. Only because the evidence that Jeremy Young provided shows MAME. This would put everything under the bridge. He'd get his reputation back. Water under the bridge. No one gives a fuck. Everyone moves on. The only person here that would lose in this situation is anybody who's continuing to bother Billy and be a piece of shit. Now, I know that's not a popular decision, but if I was Jace Hall, that's how I would handle it. I would just be like, alright, this is just fucking pointless to this point. It's MAME, move it to MAME, fuck off. Go away. Because here's what'll happen if Jace Hall sits here. This is a message openly to Jace Hall. Here's what's going to happen if you allow that photo to dictate what you're going to do at your record base. You have all these games that have had modified hardware, modified, whatever. Majority of them have been replaced with Sanwa, Hap, whatever, the sticks. And you wouldn't know because there's no fucking actual video. Most of them don't have video record. Most of them were, Rudy, like you said, it was all done by judges at the time that were either crooked, stupid, or didn't give a shit. And they had these modified cabinets that, at places like Fun Spot that you wouldn't know were fucking modified. You were just going there to play the fucking game. What'll happen is...
Wait, hold on. The only modified cabinet that I know on Fun Spot was basic, because they couldn't have the actual player. The player will break down. That was the only modified hardware they had. It was a space.
Well, I'm talking about sticks.
Well, okay. Well, control. Okay.
So when I'm talking about stick replacement and nothing else.
Okay.
This is what Jace Hall will have to deal with. He will have to witch hunt literally every score on Twin Galaxies that used a modified controller or a repaired controller on a repaired unit, and be able to. And he needs to find out if they were Nintendo or Capcom certified, repaired, or whatever, and done on a certified repaired unit. That, I would rather yank my testicles off and not have to deal with that. I'm sorry, Jace. I would not do that. Don't fucking do that. That would be an egregiously waste of fucking human resources and time. Like, it would hurt my fucking brain otherwise. What in the hell is that?
That's a modified controller. Look how much I modified it.
That looks like 2 thumbsticks.
Yeah, that's
because they awful to deal with.
Yeah, that's my wife's controller for people. But this is not going to make her a better gamer. It just gives her better control. Feel the traction to the thumbs. You see, it just gives you a better grip on it. So it's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous, man. It doesn't make you a world champion. Just
so what? Now we're gonna jeopardize all of Twin Galaxy's records and go fucking witch hunting for people that used a controller that they may or may not have known were fucking modified and throw their name out and call them a cheater. Is that what we're gonna do? No, I don't. No, that would be a waste of fucking time, especially to go back and look through every record. I feel like it'd be a lot more easier to just go about the records that we know on Twin Galaxies through hard video game analysis. That these scores were cheated, they're cheated, we remove them, and just call that a day. If people are maliciously cheating through the use of modified controllers, then that's one thing. But we could be able to prove that. Not just by an image. I'm talking about, show us him taking advantage of a control stick for his benefit in a run. If there was video proof of Broker, and I will stand behind this, if there's video proof of the Broker run where he is modifying and moving around the barrels, as I've heard, when it comes to holding the control stick in a certain way, when you hold it up and left, you can manipulate the barrels or some shit. If there was video proof of the Broker run that was done, showing the barrels being manipulated, I would stop what I'm saying and be like, alright, he cheated using the control stick. He used an 8-way control stick and modified and moved around the barrels. I would shut my mouth and I would turn around and say, alright, Carl was right, my bad. But that's not the case. That really isn't the case at all. That's the point that I'm trying to make here, is that it wouldn't matter if he had an 8-way or not, so long as he's not misusing it. Well, with an 8-way you could accidentally push up and left, but what I'm trying to say here is, even if it was a 4-way or whatever, whatever the stick was, you can't visually tell. Like this is a shorter stick than an N64, but it's still 8 directions. So what does that make me? Okay, if you saw this, what if I told you this was a 4-way? Would you believe that's a 4-way stick on an N64 controller? No, that wouldn't make any fucking sense. A judge wouldn't be able to look at this visually and say, all right, that looks like a 3-way controller. That's a 2-way controller. No, that's a 4-way. What? How many directions is that, Rudy? I don't know. I'm I'm a fucking judge. I don't play video games. You know, it is a level of monotony at this point where I just want to fucking close my eyes and shudder at basically how fucking stupid the entirety of this is. I feel like, for the most part, if there was any gratuity, what do I mean by gratuity? If there was any amount of thought process that went into the way we were doing the rule sets and tracks, which, mind you, on Twin Galaxies, it doesn't list the person who made the track set on the older records. I feel like that is one major complaint that I have had since day fucking one, where I feel like it should be listed the exact referee who added the last track set, and if you don't have that, put down something. Or insert a section to where we can, as a community, put down who we believe was the referee, and just turn it into a fucking Wikipedia at this point. Because only the community is going to give a shit to upload who we believe were the actual adjudicators. And if we don't know, we could just put a list of names until we can finally alphabetically figure out, and just put unverified until we can actually verify who did it. And then you'll have an episode of Who Done It in the adjudicator section when it comes to disputing a score for that track set. But unfortunately, that's just, another thing that's gone under the bridge over at Twin Galaxies. I still stand behind Isaiah's score being cheated on Alien score. Contra 3 Alien War. I know that's not a popular opinion right now to have, but I mean, to be frank, you leech the final boss for hours on end.
Can I give you my opinion on that?
Yeah, go ahead. Even though it's a leeching game, I know, but leeching is non-forward progression, Rudy.
I wanted to say that I've seen Isaiah's skills and his gameplay, and in my opinion, I don't believe he cheated.
But he might have leached.
I mean, it's just, you gotta understand, Contra is just Contra. It's gonna have these elements to it, so it's not. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's just like that. Like I told you about my deal. It's like, so I don't believe he cheated. I just believe that he just did the best possible way to get the score.
Yeah. So for those that are joining in late or whatever, Isaiah was gonna.
Let's believe it, motherfucker. There you go.
He was gonna talk to us, but and he approached me and Rudy, but I told him I'd be on for Saturday or whatnot, the next Thursday or whatever. But when Rudy asked for the Discord link to go into his server to talk to him and sit down, all he said to Rudy was Rudy, and then he disappeared to watch a bed cam of his wife, some girl named Niall or something. I looked at the thumbnail and my immediate expression was just like, dude, I came here to talk about video games, not look at bitches on a bed. You know what I mean? Like, dude, I'm here to talk about video games. If I want to look at booty, I will go on Pornhub. I want to sit here and talk about fucking video games, man. There's booty in video games. Let me talk about video games, man.
Well, he was busy in another stream he had to take care of,
Another stream looking at booty.
Well,
he was looking at booty. He wanted some bootios. He wanted some EmpireArcadia ravioli.
I'll see, now you just missed it.
You want the ravioli fun? I got your ravioli fun right here. You know what? I'm going to eat that later. I'm going to put that in the microwave and eat it. That's going to be my dinner. It's going to be the EmpireArcadia ravioli fun. It's going to be delicious.
Oh,
it's going to be good. What? I'm allowed at jokes. I'm allowed at jokes. I've had a good day.
That's good. You had a good day. I want a good day myself.
I want that ravioli fun back, man.
You know.
I remember I made that image of all the Empire Arcadia members sitting down over one can of ravioli.
I mean, it's good stuff, though. I mean, Maris, that
I
stuff
know.
good stuff. I'm not lying. That I don't. If you homeless, rich, or whatever, that stuff will keep you going.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
You know, that's some good stuff.
Did
Shoot,
Isaiah ever say anything else to you?
Huh?
Did Isaiah
No, it's
ever?
just that he's been busy.
He's been busy.
He's been busy. Yeah, he's been really, really busy. So I'm still having gotten a hold of him, but yeah, he's been really busy with his life. So, I mean, he does what he does. He does what he does. I can't argue what about you already know because that's the way he does things.
No, I understand. I'm gonna put. This is late for me to put up on the stream, but I'm gonna put up my email. For those, I mean, it's on my YouTube description. If you go over, you can email me. If anyone has, I was gonna put this at the start, but it's a little late now. Add source, type out.
You think you guys gonna square it off? Like after that?
I don't know. It's not even. Oh God, I can't even fucking grab this asset. There we go.
Just saying, it's just we could all go back into happy gaming. You know what I mean?
You see that link down there? Go fucking email me whatever you think is the actual arcade stick to the broker photo. I will literally sit there and read nonstop. I do check it very avidly. I check it as basically as avid as my Discord every other day. And again, it just kind of baffles me that I had like a few thousand people come to that video within a week, and then none of them could supply a fucking photo and some proof.
Did you misspelled it? It says Jae. Gae.
That's how it's spelled. It's to fuck with people.
Oh, okay.
It's to fuck with people, dude. A lot of people think that it's misspelled, but it's not. That's the actual spelling to my email.
Oh, okay.
You want some gaming?
Maris, how do
I be an asshole of people and dodge spam mail? Like, why would I make it gaming with a GAMING, where I would just get spammed out the ass? No. I gotta make it memey and trolly as fuck. And then I won't get spam mail. I'm pretty sure I missed like a few thousand emails, but there are a few thousand emails that I don't want to be bothered to fucking read. Probably from a bunch of angry fanboys.
The Carl people are gonna start probably.
I'll probably get angry fucking Billy Mitchell fans too. Maybe I'll get angry. Maybe I'll get angry Cat Despira fans. Oh wait, that's right. That's not even her real fucking name. I know what her actual name is, but I'm not gonna say it on stream, so she can't do anything to me. What's she gonna do? Antagonize Pat the NES punk who thinks she's a pile of trash and a dumpster fire? I mean, it's whatever. I know the shit I say is like off the walls, but like honestly, I'd rather it just feel like a Rudy Ferretti joke at this point. Yo, can I put up that image of the fruity spaghetti? Can I please? Can I please put that on stream? You wanted me to put up my cereal box thing up?
Oh, yeah, if you want, but damn, that has nothing to do with that. You're looking at old stuff and then you're just editing it now.
Old stuff and editing it. Oh man, dude, you're telling me my specialty. Hold on, let me see if I can find that image, dude.
Folks, this is Maris at his finest and his craziness.
What do you mean craziness? I'm a normal human being. I exist here for the sole pleasure of.
It's the internet. It's the internet. Just have fun with it. But I'm just saying. That ain't my thing. I mean, he's manipulating it now. He's manipulating.
You want that?
Jesus Christ!
You want my cereal? Yeah. No, it's a new cereal brand, right? This is the cereal brand that pissed Isaiah off, right? Save $6 whole. $6 whole, guys.
Oh, he just took that from. That's some old shit there.
Breakfast of Nintendo. Fruity Ferretti Spaghetti Berry. Take my spaghetti. I was gonna make it like a hand, like he's handing it off to Isaiah, but like You know what I mean? It's just fucking. Oh god, do you still have the bag? Tell me you still have the bag.
You mean my power bag?
Yeah,
It doubles as a trash bag.
it doubles as a noose.
Hold on, I gotta find the I gotta find the whole. There we go.
It doubles as a suffocation device.
Yeah, that's the real. Hold on. Gotta put my hood, motherfucker. There. Oh, I gotta hold. There we go. Does that look? Oh, hold on, almost looks fine, really.
Oh god. I fucking can't, Rudy. Jesus fucking Christ. I'm done. Alright, that's it. Nope. We're not allowed to. Oh god.
Oh, man, remember, it's all jokes. It's all no. That's it. Don't get. I'm just messing. Don't get me wrong.
Fucking plastic bag. The fucking plastic pickle bag. I fucking can't. I fucking can't. I'm done, man. Alright.
Okay, that's it.
I got a headache now from laughing too hard. I'm done.
Oh Lord, yeah.
We're done. We're no more podcasts. This has become nothing but trolling. I'm gonna eat this ravioli, alright? Alright, I'm gonna have my my ravioli fun ready. Alright. I'm gonna eat that in a little bit. Everyone take care. If you got if anyone has, as I said, any information regarding the broker stick, and for those that don't know, I pulled up the photo, but I don't want to accidentally pull up the wrong photo again. Let me where the hell is it? I don't have it in front of me, do I? Fucking where? Yeah, I don't have it in front of me. I'm not gonna try to find it. It's gonna take forever. The broker photo, the black stick. If anyone has any information at all, you shoot an email down below. I will respond to it.
Oh Lord.
And when I ask that, when I say any information, please do not send me an email and not have a model number and like all the facts written down, and be able to link that model number not just by image alone, but to the cabinet itself in some manner. Otherwise, just don't even bother, please. I love having my time spared and fucking used wisely. Not, printing out Isaiah's face on a can of ravioli. Or Rudy putting a bag over his hand, joking.
Ravioli? What?
I can't, man.
It's good stuff. I'm not lying. Ravioli's that shit is good, man. My wife is addicted to that stuff. You know how many times she asks me she want to eat ravioli. That stuff is good.
Jesus fucking Christ. Alright, that's the end of the stream. I'm ending this. That's it.
Breakfast of champions.
Breakfast of